Now it's time to start setting your reading habits and priorities. As you grow as an experienced reader, no matter where you are along your journey, you need to make sure to set your reading habits and goals per day, month, and year. It's okay for these to be a bit flexible because I know life, work, family, sometimes get in the way of reading or some of the other tasks you have to do. But reading may be one of the most important things in your life in order to help you progress in every area. But when it comes to emergencies or extremely important tasks that need to be finished on a deadline, then reading will have to come second. Actually, in most cases, reading will have to come second because the most important thing is taking action, right? The doers, not just the thinkers, but being a doer. And say you do have more time. You've completed whatever you need to complete with your family or your job or your side hustle. Then you should take that time, at least a fraction of it, to read without fail. As I mentioned in the productivity module, never miss more than once. That way you can keep your momentum and ideas flowing smoothly. Now, if you take a look here, here's an example of how much I read on a good day. And of course, this is just a framework. It's not an exact science. I could be reading more or a little bit less, but this is an approximation. Okay, approximation. All right, so time, 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. I work, but I read right before I work. And then around 12:30 to 12:45, I read for like 15 minutes. 2:30 to 3, I read for another half an hour. And then at night, after I've spent time with my family, I'll read from like 8 to 9 p.m. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes per day. Now, it could be less, like I said, but that's an average. That's a good amount, right? 2 hours. It leaves time for me to get some projects done, to spend time with family. And usually I do it at my desk at my office, or I could do it at a cafe, or even at the office at my house. Okay, and on more of an average day, it'll look more like this. So a little bit less, 7:30 to 7:45 a.m. and 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If my schedule just gets so hectic during the day, it makes it very hard to fit in reading time. But you see from this schedule here, I at least fit something in. I get an hour of reading in every day without fail. And at the weekend, it could look a little bit different, right? So it could be 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I usually wake up. I take care of my morning duties like taking a shower and brushing my teeth and eating breakfast. And I'll sit down and read for about an hour. And then in the middle of the day, when I'm not doing anything else, maybe my daughter's taking a nap, I'll read for another half an hour or hour. And then again at night before I sleep. So I manage to read a little bit more at the weekend if I'm not so busy, like not taking a trip with my family or something like that. I will get 2 hours and 30 minutes of reading in. Of course, sometimes it could be a little bit less and sometimes it could be a bit more. But yeah, that is my basic schedule. So with this schedule, that means that I'm getting an average of about 12 and a half hours per week of active reading done. That's over 2 days per month of reading. But let's not forget that action is one of the most important aspects. Like I told you before, action, right? So we're going to be taking these main takeaways of the books and then putting it into a plan and taking action. That is the whole design of this course. That is SPAR, the SPAR framework. So I'm not just reading the books, right? and then throwing them back on my shelf to collect dust. I'm taking each valuable takeaway that is suitable for my life, putting it into a plan, and then taking action. You will be learning exactly how to do this in the upcoming modules and lessons. So sit tight and learn the building blocks first before taking random efforts of action. Because random efforts of action without some sort of direction will lead you maybe to a place you don't want to be. It could lead you to a place you want to be, but you don't know. With guided action, you will guarantee your eventual success, whatever you're working towards. The most important thing for me at this time in my journey is that I read for at least 1 hour every day. What is it for you? Think about how long you want to be spending your time reading and how much time do you want to be spending taking action, right? You need to divide all this stuff up so that you can really make progress. Like I mentioned before, sometimes other obligations get in the way of reading, and you also really don't want reading to get in the way of taking action upon what you read, as action is the most important. Okay? The schedule above is not exact. One that's okay, not to have an exact schedule for reading as long as you still read something. Some days, the amount of time I read is quite less than what I do on other days. And other days, it's a lot more. My weekends vary quite a bit as I spend most of my time with my family. Your schedule might be completely different than mine. So you'll have to experiment with your schedule and see what works best for you. But it's important that you know what your schedule is and approximately how much time you want to read during the week. You should also never let reading stress you out. Although reading is very important, and I consider it not to really be a hobby, it's more of a fundamental thing that you need to have in your life, you still don't want it to stress you out. You want to be curious about what you're reading. You want to have an open mind, right? So you're not going into it with like a stressful mindset of, oh, I need to read and I need to get this done. I need to do this. I need to. Just be like, okay, I have to. This is part of my fundamental goals, the fundamental things I'm working on. If your plate is too full, make sure to focus on the things you really need to take care of. That way you can diminish your stress a little bit. As for my monthly goal, I base it from my yearly goal. So, for example, if I want to complete 36 books this year, then it means that, if you want to complete 36 books this year, whatever your goal may be, it means that you should read 3 books per month in order to reach that goal. Honestly, I recommend not stressing yourself out too much about your yearly goal, because the most important thing is that you're growing and having a good time while doing it and learning a whole lot and being able to actually take what you learn and put it into action. Set your yearly goal based on how much time you have per day to read. Set it within reason. That way you don't get stressed if you're not able to reach it. I've seen people stress about it before, like part of the Instagram, Bookstagram community. I see people posting about, oh, I haven't reached my goal. I need to read 5,000 more pages in order to reach it. It's like, come on, guys. You know, it's not about the amount of pages or books that you read. It's about the quality of the content, you know? If you end up going beyond your original reading goal, you will feel extremely satisfied about it, If you manage to set a goal of 36 and then you end up reading 40 books, you read 4 more books than your goal. And that's awesome. That is awesome. It's really well time spent, in my opinion. No matter whether you're reading a fiction book or nonfiction, reading should be a pleasant activity. Even if you don't enjoy the book that much, as long as you're getting something from it, like one gem you apply in your life. In a book that you don't really like, but you find something that you can really apply, that is one feeling of accomplishment. It is a great feeling. Yes, reading nonfiction is much different, right, than reading a fiction book, but it still shouldn't be a chore. It should feel energizing and intriguing after every reading session. And once reading becomes more of a habit to you, and you're reading at least 10 pages per day without fail, you do it consecutively for 66 days, then your reading habit will become much easier, and in turn, it will increase. After many years of reading every day, you will find yourself reading between 50 and 100 pages per day. But like I said, you should focus more on the quality of the content that you're reading rather than the amount of pages that you read. But with practice, your reading will become faster, and that will feel like a great accomplishment as well. But the key to reading and success is, like I said, being consistent. It's not about being fast, it's about being consistent and being able to retain the most important aspects of the book and implement the takeaways you get. That is the key of reading a nonfiction book. It's not about how many books you finish. It's not about how many pages you read in 1 year. It's about what you do with that knowledge from the books. And always keep in mind that no matter what type of work you do, in addition to the times you're reading, you'll also have to make room for your family and side projects. If you have one, and I recommend that you do, right? You should try to have a side project. Even as an entrepreneur, if you are building your own businesses, you can always build something else on top of that. It depends on what your priorities are. If you are a student and you still haven't got a job yet, and you're still studying, you can build up a side hustle. You can, as long as you put your energy and a little bit of time in it consistently, with perseverance, you will be able to reach whatever that goal is that you're looking for, and reading will help you reach it. Okay? So now create an estimate of what your yearly goal, your monthly goal, and your daily reading goal and your schedule will look like from now on, both for your weekdays and your weekends. Then send a copy to matt@bookmatic.com. I hope you got a lot from this lesson, and I will see you in the next one.